A new leak of data that exposes Uber. Big revelations in 124,000 internal communications from 2013 to 2017. This is an investigation by The Guardian, ICIJ, and other media partners in nearly 30 countries. This is the Uber Files. What are the Uber Files all about, and how is this different from other ICIJ projects?
We had done the Pandora papers in October of last year, and several previous projects had also been offshore projects. This is a different kind of project where we are looking at deeply at a corporate entity. We are looking at Uber and also realizing why it is such a giant of the Silicon Valley. And these are actually leaks of a period from 2013 to 17, which was a very tumultuous period in the history of Uber. And that was also the period when they were expanding wildly, rapidly, and a bit carelessly. So what the Uber files really expose is the modus operandi of the company while they were doing this expansion. And it has given very rare insights into how Uber came to India, operated in India, has continued in India.
Yeah, since they entered in India, in fact, what this investigation shows that how they exploited the loopholes in our regulatory system. So when they entered, there were issues with Reserve Bank of India on the payment system of this company, and unfortunately RBI did not react on its own. It was based on complaints from some association. Then there were issues with the service tax. They were not paying the service tax. They were denying. They were saying we are not in any category. Then finance minister in one of the budget speeches he said the cab aggregators covered under that. Sometimes they say we are transport providers, tour operators. Sometimes they say we are rent a cab. So these all they were doing all tactics to avoid the taxation. Right now also they are facing some complaint from the CCPA, Consumer Complaint that Appellate Authority, and also some court cases are there. So what investigation shows is that how they exploited all our loopholes in the regulatory system.
So, in the wake of the 2014 Uber rape case, a slew of measures were introduced both by Uber and various agencies. And our ground report has found that this security infrastructure that had come in the wake of 2014 Uber rape case is ridden with a lot of loopholes which can be exploited. We have also found one of the major findings of our investigation is that the panic button switch, which is mandated by law as per a notification by the central government, does not work in Delhi. And there are various reasons why this panic button does not work, which we will delve into our story.
So Anand talked about the SOS switch. There is also a lot of reporting that's going to be done internationally about something called the kill switch. Now, this has been written about briefly before during the early years of Uber. And what is very interesting is that the leaked files now show that the kill switch was also used in India. So that was a major finding for us. And very often the kill switch has been used using a technology or a software called Casper and later something called Ripley in many parts of Europe and in several countries. And this has often been done to avoid or to thwart regulatory action, or when, say, the company is anticipating a raid. And there are one or two instances in the files when Uber has tried to use the kill switch but could not. So we have our own, so the files actually expose 13 instances of the use of kill switch, and one of them is in India. That's one revelatory part of what the stories that you're going to read. And the other interesting thing is linked to the 2014 rape, when the files and the leaks and the emails expose the panic in the Uber headquarters in San Francisco. and how the top officials of Uber in emails and communications to each other tried to blame the Indian authorities for it. It also shows how the rape case, in fact, continued to be problematic for the company because the victim had filed a case and all those details are there. So the panic inside the Uber headquarters and the aftermath of the rape case is very important for the Indian Express.
I'm telling you, before that I tell you that this company is based in US, but they came to India through Netherlands. And a large sum of royalty fee, the license fee they pay to that Netherlands company and pay very little taxes in India. So that is how they are operating here. And these MOUs they have signed with a number of government organizations, state governments, and some private organizations also. But I analyzed the present status of 9-10 MOUs, and most of them are non-starters. The Uber didn't return after the MOU was signed, and it seems that all these were signed to make some inroads in the government machinery, to influence people to protect and to promote their business in India.
So we spoke to over 60 Uber drivers from around 6 states to find out what is the conditions at which they work in, because when Uber had been introduced in India in 2013, they had championed the gig workers economy, and they brought in a slew of incentives. The drivers were given iPhones, and the most of the responsibility was shouldered by the drivers who took loans to buy cars. So these were mostly blue collar workers who started driving a taxi because they were attracted by the incentives. So years later, what we have found is that the condition is it's quite horrible, to say the least, because now you have drivers who work 18 to 20 hours in a day. This is because their incentives system has been done away with from 2016. The commission rates which Uber used to take, they used to earlier take 10% commission rates. Now that has been increased to 30%. So, and we all know that there has been a hike in the fuel prices in the country. So all of this has taken a chunk of the savings of the Uber car drivers, who now have to drive 18 to 20 hours in. Some of these drivers drive in extremely hostile conditions, and they don't get to see their families most of the time. And they do all of this work just to keep their cars running. And over a period of 4 to 5 years, the last 4 to 5 years, we've seen instances of people defaulting on their loans. They've had loan recovery agents come harass them on a daily basis. Some of them had to leave their cars and then take up alternative jobs, like they've become shepherds, they've become vegetable sellers, fishermen. There are also cases where drivers have pawned off their wives' jewelry. Their kids have dropped out of private schools. So all the dreams and aspirations that they had is gone, and now they just hope to just survive and make it, and make sure that they end up paying their monthly EMI installments and just somehow survive.